Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. It's Evelyn and Luna here as always. Thank you so much for all of your continued support on this little creativity corner of the internet. Please, if you haven't done so already, hit that all important subscribe button. I hope that you're all having as much fun as I am with this knit along. And exciting news friends, this week we get to finish our Claire jumpers. I'm so excited to finish my jumper. I am loving this colour and I cannot wait to wear it. And there's something else we're going to create this week too. We've got some knitting to do, but we're also going to do some sewing. Although here in the Scottish Highlands, it seems that we've missed autumn, to be quite honest, because it's been really mild weather, even up to 17 degrees. But today the temperature suddenly dropped. But I'm going to keep with my autumn sewing plans and show you all how to draft and create an autumn inspired hooded cape. I don't have a cape in my wardrobe currently, and it's a bit of an oversight, isn't it, Luna? Everyone should have a vintage inspired cape in their wardrobe. Yes, definitely. These are incredibly easy to draft, sew and wear, and I've got the most beautiful fabric in my stash that I'm going to use. Let me show you. Firstly, for the outer layer, this gorgeous coral orange scuba, and then for the inside layer, this beautiful leaf print fleece backed jersey. So super excited to show you this project. But first, let's get to some knitting and a cuppa. Always gotta have a cuppa. All we need to do to finish our Claire jumpers is to sew up those seams. And to do so, I'm using an invisible seam. I always leave long tails on my projects so that I can use that yarn to seam them. Be sure to check out my shorts here on the channel for in-depth explanations of all the stitches and techniques that we need to use to make these sweaters. Finally, I like to weave in the ends along those newly sewn seams to give a lovely neat finish. And that's our jumper complete. When it comes to blocking, especially this time of year when it's difficult to dry anything, I tend to put my finished garments onto Betty to stretch them into shape. Sorted. So now let's get to some cape making, and I promise this actually is easy. It's not one of those projects that say they're easy and then you get into it and it's really difficult. I promise you it actually is super easy to draft and create one of these capes. Now, the cape is created the same way you would create a circle skirt. Now, if you need a refresher on how to create circle skirts, or you're thinking, Evelyn, what is a circle skirt? I have no idea what you're talking about. Make sure to check out my video on circle skirts, and there's a card above and a link in the description box. When you create circle skirts, you use your waist measurement. To create our cape, we're going to use our neck circumference measurement and we're going to calculate our radius using this neck circumference measurement plus 3 inches. Why are we adding 3 inches, I hear you cry? Because we're going to put some buttons at the very top of our cape, and we're going to need 2 inches to create the button band and 1 inch for seam allowances. And there's one more measurement that you need today to create your cape, and that's how long you want your finished cape to be from the nape of your neck downwards. As with circle skirts, you're going to fold your fabric in half twice, and you're then going to plot your radius measurement out from that folded corner. From that radius measurement, you're then going to plot your desired length, and your pattern on your fabric should look a little something like this page in my trusty notebook. I've created my cape using a full circle as my fabric is very wide. If you're using narrow fabric, you may need to create your cape using a 3/4 circle. There are some great circle skirt calculators out there online that let you type in your circumference measurement, your desired length, and the dimensions of your fabric to tell you how best to use it. So be sure to check those out if you're unsure. You're going to cut out 2 of these cape pieces, 1 of your outer fabric and 1 of your lining. And now it's time to draft a hood. Yes, you can do this, trust me. Let's get to drafting a lovely simple hood for our cape. You'll see that I've already drafted the hood in pencil, but I'm going to go over the process in Sharpie so that you can see. Firstly, square a line down the left-hand side of your paper that measures 3/4 of your nape of neck to waist measurement plus 1.5 inches. Label the top of this line as A and the bottom as B. Continue this line down from B by 2.5 inches and mark as C. Square across your paper from point C, labelling this line as D. From point B, plot half of your neck circumference plus 1 inch, which is half of your button band measurement, onto line D. Mark at the halfway point along this new line, labelling this point as E. Square up from where your neckline measurement met on line D, then squaring outwards from A to join this new vertical line, marking where they join as F. Now let's draw in the neckline curve. In the approximate centre between B and E, come upwards by 1/4 inch and make a mark. In the approximate centre between E and where the neckline hits line D, come downwards by 1/2 inch and make a mark. Draw in your neckline by drawing a curved line between these points and marks like so. I freehanded this today as my hands were feeling pretty good, but a French curve can be a real blessing here. Now mark halfway between A and F as G. Then mark 1/4 of the measurement A to B plus 3/4 of an inch down from A, labelling this point as H. Come outwards from H by 3/4 of an inch and mark as I. To draw in the back curve of your hood, join points B to I to G in a nice curve like so. Come out from point F by 1 inch and then down from this by 3/4 of an inch to mark point J. Now join F to J in a smooth curved line. Lastly, join point J to the line D at the edge of the neckline to finish your hood. Don't forget to add your seam allowance either around this pattern piece now or as you're cutting out your fabric. We're going to cut 2 of this pattern from our outer cape fabric and 2 from our lining fabric. As I'm using Scuba, which is a stretch fabric, I've installed a stretch needle into my machine to avoid those pesky skipped stitches. So let's get to sewing this cape, and this really is quick and easy. You're going to start with those hood pieces, placing them right sides together. You're going to stitch all along that outer curve to create your hood lining and your outer hood. Next, you're going to join the hood and the cape piece together along the neckline, and then you'll have what looks like a lining cape and an outer fabric cape. You might want to be Batman. I might have been Batman. I was definitely Batman. Dear. Be patient when pinning the hood and cape pieces together. Because I'm using a stretch fabric, I can manipulate the curves with ease. But if you're using a non-stretch or a woven fabric, you can clip into the seam allowances to allow you to match the pieces and their curves together. So now that you have those 2 hooded cape pieces, and most importantly you've enjoyed being Batman, you're now going to take those 2 pieces and place them right sides together before sewing all the way around the outer edge, around the hood and around the cape. But most importantly, you're going to leave a short opening at the bottom of the cape. This will allow you to turn the garment right side out. I also understitched all around the hood and down the sides of my cape, pushing the seam allowances underneath the lining and top stitching at 1/8 of an inch into the lining. This really helps the lining to stay inside the garment so that when you want to show off that statement lining, it really does make a statement. You're then going to slip stitch that opening closed. And believe it or not, friends, the final step to creating your cape is to sew some buttonholes and your buttons on. Yes, that really is how to create a hooded cape. It really is that simple. And I chose to use 1.5 inch buttons here, and that's why I added 2 inches to my neck circumference measurement so that I had enough space to create a button band. But you could use any size buttons you like, my friends. Just be certain that the amount you add to your neck circumference is enough to be able to add those buttons and the required button band. When it comes to buttonholes, really take your time planning where you want to place your buttons and how long your buttonholes need to be. The general rule of thumb is that the buttonholes should be 3 millimeters larger than the size of your buttons. Really take your time here, my friends. I'll definitely be making more capes like this, but with bound buttonholes. But the weather has turned so cold here that I'm surprised I was even able to thread my machine. Winter is definitely not the time for me to be doing anything that fiddly. Let's hit up the reveal. So there we go, 2 completed projects in 1 week, and I absolutely love both of them. I'm really glad that I decided not to size up this time with this attempt at the Claire sweater, because it fits perfectly and I'm definitely getting real vintage sweater girl vibes. I also adore this colour. It's time for more makes in this colour, I think. In terms of my cape, I am definitely wearing and creating more of these. When I went out to shoot the reveal footage of the cape, it was single figures temperature-wise, really cold, and I took a coat with me and then I changed into the cape. Turns out the cape is warmer than my coat, so I'm definitely going to be creating some more. I definitely also need to give it a really good press though, but I ran out of time to do so before filming the reveal, and so it means that the edges on the base of the cape and around the top of the hood aren't as crisp and neat and nice as I would like, but you know, you can't have everything. I'm just incredibly happy that I managed to create this in just such a short amount of time. Next week it's December. And you know that means one thing and one thing only. Get ready, my friends, for some Christmas content. It's my first Christmas here on YouTube. Super excited. But for this week, until next Friday, my friends, take care. From Luna and I, be safe. Bye. You okay, Loons? Who's out there? I think it's just the wind. See you later, friends.